What is the silver market going to look like over the next 5 years? And what will have changed about silver by the year 2027? Today, I want to share with you some predictions related to the silver market and why I believe silver and precious metals may be on the cusp of a monumental shift. Hey everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. Thanks for tuning into today's video. If you get some value from it, please do consider liking it and sharing it with your friends. And if you'd like to see more videos about investing in and stacking silver, then why not subscribe to the channel? Okay, so it seems almost certain that 5 years down the road from now, in 2027, the world is likely to look a lot different than it does today. We are living through a time of massive and accelerating change, a period that generational theorists William Strauss and Neil Howe refer to as a fourth turning. And in their book by the same name, they have forecast that the current fourth turning that we are living through will culminate sometime around the year 2026. And that however it is that we end up managing to resolve or cope with the crises that we're facing, when we get to the other side, our society will never look the same. And that leads me to my first prediction. By 2027, I forecast that silver, along with gold and the other precious metals, will have become household names. And right now, they're kind of far from it. Back in 2019, an independent survey of 1,500 Americans aged 18 to 65 revealed that 82.4% of the respondents held no physical precious metals at all. And of the remaining 17.6% who had some silver or gold, how many do you think are actually stacking metal? I'd guess that at most, the majority of them have a few pieces of jewelry, or maybe a coin or two received as a gift or as an inheritance. And I don't know exactly how the current economic bubble that we are living through will end, whether it be a currency crisis, a debt default, hyperinflation, a stock market crash of epic proportions, but however it ends, it doesn't look like it's going to be pretty. And with record inflation, $30 trillion in debt, and a rising trend of global de-dollarization, I don't think that we're going to get the soft landing for the US economy that Jerome Powell keeps talking about. But when the US economy does reach the breaking point, and I believe that we absolutely could see that within the next 5 years, when the reality of just how precarious our economic position is becomes clear to the masses, I forecast that we will witness a desperate flight into safe haven assets. Maybe starting with gold, but once that price gets bid into the many thousands of dollars per ounce, the average person will begin looking towards silver. And that is when silver will be on everyone's mind. And that's also when we could see some kind of a blow-off top in the metals as public interest reaches a fever pitch. But it's kind of hard to say if you'd even want to sell your metals for dollars at that point, no matter how high the price gets. One thing I am sure of, though, is that I want my metal in place and in my possession before such an event occurs. Okay, so my second prediction is a little bit more mundane, and it's not nearly as dire as that last one. And also, this is one that I think has a higher probability of coming true, and that is that the industrial demand for silver is going to grow to much higher levels. Here in this data provided by the Silver Institute, you can see that the silver consumed in the production of photovoltaics alone increased by more than 130% over the past decade, from a level of 55 million ounces in 2012 to a projected 127 million ounces this year. And if this pace of change continues or accelerates, and that certainly seems likely given the various green and environmental agendas of governments around the world, then that means that we could see over 200 million ounces of silver going towards just photovoltaics by 2027. And that's just one use of the metal. It's not even taking into account the amount that will be needed for electric vehicles, Internet of Things devices, medical applications, batteries, and whatever other high-tech applications that we come up with that require the unique properties of silver. And when you compare that to the annual mining production of silver, which has averaged just under 850 million ounces for the past decade, you can see that demand could quickly begin to outstrip the limited supply of silver. And for most of these industrial applications, there is no substitute for silver. For example, you can use copper in solar panels, but the issue is that the panels are a lot less efficient, they don't produce as much power, and they don't last as long. So silver really is an indispensable resource, and it's one that I forecast will be in short supply by 2027. And one prediction I know I can be sure of is that you can always get high quality household and personal care products over at today's video sponsor, silverbotanicals.com. Make sure you use the link down in the description to check out all their awesome products powered by natural essential oils and nano silver. And don't forget to use coupon code STACKER to save 10% off your order today. Okay, so my third silver prediction is related to the price of physical silver bullion, and that is that premiums on physical silver are going to continue to rise and will be much higher in 2027. And this is a trend that we've seen recently where the price of physical metal has less and less correlation to the paper silver spot price. And I know that this bothers a lot of stackers because it can feel frustrating when you can't buy silver at the spot price, but just remember that the spot price is based on futures contracts, which are nothing more than paper derivatives of silver. The real price is what you can buy or sell an ounce of actual metal for, and that price these days on both counts is almost certainly higher than spot. And I forecast that the biggest beneficiary of this trend is going to be US 90% constitutional silver coins minted 1964 or earlier, also known as junk silver. Coins like this one used to be one of the cheapest ways to stack silver, but over the past several years, premiums have risen dramatically, and the reason why is, they're not making these anymore, and stackers and coin collectors still want them, so supply and demand will likely keep these premiums moving much higher. And, personally, I'm not really upset about that. A lot of my junk silver I stacked at spot price years ago, and for anyone holding junk silver, rising premiums is a good thing. That's why I am actually continuing to stack junk silver today, even though the premiums are close to 30% over spot now, because I suspect that 5 years down the road in 2027, we're going to look back fondly on this time when the premiums on junk silver are only 30%. And I will make one additional forecast regarding the premiums on 90% junk silver, and that is that they will eventually exceed the premiums on US Silver Eagles. They're not quite there yet, but they are closing the gap, and they're still minting Silver Eagles, but the supply of junk silver can only get smaller. And my final forecast today, it might be a bit of a long shot, but also 5 years is a pretty long time considering the pace at which we are seeing things change. And that final prediction is that we may see a new major global currency backed by gold and possibly even silver. Because let's face it, even though the US dollar index has been rising lately, it's just the healthiest patient in a terminal ward of sick paper currencies. I mean, where else can nations turn to when looking for a safe global reserve? You can hold a bunch of euros, of course, right as Europe is heading directly into a massive energy crisis and perhaps the worst recession any of us have witnessed in our lifetimes. You could hold some Japanese yen. Of course, Japan's debt to GDP ratio of over 250% makes ours look kind of tame by comparison. You could grab some pound sterling, but the British, of course, they're pretty much in the same pickle as the rest of Europe. Or I suppose you could stack up some Chinese yuan. That is, if you like fiat currencies that are tightly controlled by corrupt and authoritarian regimes that don't respect the rule of law. So it would seem that the time is ripe for someone to come along with a more attractive alternative to all these paper fiat currencies. And I suspect that that just might happen between now and 2027. Who will it be? Well, that's kind of hard to say, but there seems to be a vacuum in the realm of reliable forms of money, and I think someone is going to come along and fill it. It was just a couple of weeks ago that Vladimir Putin proposed a new precious metals market based in Russia called the Moscow World Standard, designed to compete with the LBMA and Western commodities markets. Now, could that possibly have something to do with the new world reserve currency that the BRICS organization of nations has been hinting at? Could be. And as the list of nations looking to join BRICS now includes Mexico, Iran, Turkey, Egypt, Nigeria, Argentina, Venezuela, and even Saudi Arabia, there is at least the potential for such a hard money currency to be adopted for a significant portion of world trade. And I don't think that I need to explain to you what that could mean for the price of gold and silver, especially when you're talking about the price in dollars. So that's it, everyone. Just a few predictions from one silver stacker about what the next 5 years could look like for precious metals. Leave a comment down below to let me know what your prediction is for what the economy in precious metals will look like by 2027. And thank you all very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker, out.